Hello and welcome back to my channel. Thanks for visiting me today. Today I'm talking about some issues with state of Kentucky and back to the whole country. We'll talk about EBT issues, SNAP, food stamps, and other things. In fact, I just got a letter, and to be honest, I knew nothing about it. I've never heard about it. Of course, you could say I'm not keeping up, but there's so many things. A lot of this stuff, one of the problems I want to talk about is that a lot of things these days are put online. And what if you're elderly, don't have an internet connection, couldn't afford to upkeep it, had it turned off? You're not ever going to see these notices. Now they're talking about the food stamps are not going to be available in November because of the shutdown. And some people think that some federal judge ruled that they have to release those benefits. But that wasn't what the judge did, so that's a misinfo there. The judge prevented the federal government from collecting names of SNAP recipients from the states. Didn't order them to, order the release of all this. But I got also on top of that, I'm seeing interesting. I'll give you an example. My issue today is I got upgraded or downgraded, whatever you want to call it, to Social Security retirement from SSI. So now I've received SSI and Social Security retirement. And they messed that up back in my birthday here on June. Then communicate SSI and SSR retirement, and they overpaid me. So that killed my SNAP food stamps off. And I got that resolved finally. But now, here in October, and they've interestingly set it up so my review renewals in October, I've sent the paperwork in. I've uploaded it to the KYNect website and all that, and by the 15th, even though they didn't send me the letters until almost the 15th. In fact, I got a letter that basically said, hey, we need this information from you, these three forms, which I put up by the 15th. They changed that date on the KYNect over to the 31st now. So this one's saying, this new one I just got today is saying, we still need this information maybe by the 31st. Whatever. But I also got this. This is interesting. Upcoming changes to SNAP policy, and we are writing to inform you about the important changes to SNAP, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program policy that will affect able-bodied adults without dependents, the ABAWD, beginning November 1st of this year. All counties, including yours, you will be and will be required to enforce. They'll be required to enforce the work deal. Now, previously, only select counties enforced it, and now they've changed the age requirement from 18 to 54 to 18 to 64 for new applications and recertifications on or after October 25th, 2025. So, I didn't know this was going to an effect. And you're basically going to have to go find work. They'll only give you food stamps for about 3 months. And here's the issue I have with that. We had it Now that's not going to apparently, but who knows? It may affect me, even though they should already have on record that, I have a dependent, my father, and I'm a caregiver, plus I have COPD and a heart condition and other issues. But this is coming out of the blue for some people. I never heard of this. Expansion of the ages from 18 to 64 from before it was ended at 54. That's 10-year difference. So if somebody was not required this for all these years, they started when it was 54 or whatever, and they've been doing this, not required to do that, all of a sudden they have this requirement to go back to work when they haven't worked, haven't been hireable, have no work history. No one's going to hire them to do anything. Except, I don't even know if they have Walmart graders anymore. I keep saying that in the video, but I used to hire old people in Walmart. Too elderly, should never have done that, but it gave them a sense of purpose and all that. But that's what they got going on. Now, my problem with SNAP is, they sent me I proved everything back in June, and in July, actually, because my birthday was in June, and then they retired me, and I got my first overpayment from Social Security, which they're going to claw back in July. So they dropped my food stamps in July, and they get that letter telling me they're dropping my food stamp until 2 days before the last day of the month. So I called in, and they said, well, we're going to send all this paperwork, and you're only going to get this. But anyway, I got that figure all proved out, and they sent me back all the stuff. I mean, they gave me back my full food stamps later in the month, and all that. But the problem with this is not everybody's going to be able to do this to float, because food stamps, SNAP, is not cash. And what I mean by that is it has no cash value, meaning you can't have cash, you can't trade it in for cash. So, if you're living day to day, you're living week to week, living Social Security check to Social Security check, and you got to come out of your pocket for your food for 2 weeks or 3 weeks of the month, like they're doing that, probably going to happen in November when we don't get our deposits. You're coming out of your pocket. You're putting it on credit card if you have, lucky to have one. You're spending cash that you meant to pay for your rent, which is due at the first of the month, and your electric and your cable, which you need in order to get online to do all the forms they want apparently now. So you spend all this cash, you're in debt now, or don't have that extra emergency cash anymore. So if you do get your food stamps back or fully it all set up, you can't offset that. You cannot, meaning you can't take any money out of it to pay the credit card, because it's only for food. It's moves forward. It's not retroactive. And so you're in a worse position at the end of that. But now with this work requirements going up to 64, and I'm 62, and if they've been doing it all this time with a cutoff of 54, they suddenly added 10 more years to it. Why? No one's hiring us now. Nobody wants to hire a 62-year-old guy or a 55-year-old guy or girl to do a decent job for decent job wages, and we don't have the skill set anymore. We don't have the physicality to do it if we've not been doing it for a while. I don't know what's going on in this country, but what they're doing is killing us, older people, because after COVID, all the rents went through the roof. All the rent increases went through the roof. and they've been skyrocketing every renewal period, and there's no locked-in price for us anymore. They want 3 times the income if you want to move from a different apartment before they'll let you in. I got an issue now where our apartment complex is making us move to a different unit. They want to renovate this unit and all the units in my building and in the complex by a set date. So they give me an option. I could re-sign the lease, but only for 10 months at $200 more a month, or I can move into another unit of the same floor plan without the same view. I'll be looking at a parking lot instead of looking at a grass and all that for the same rent I'm paying now, but that'll be for a year. But I gotta move over there. I gotta move me and my elderly father and all our furniture and all our stuff over there. I'm gonna have to get movers and change my address, his address, our IDs, our bank accounts, get new checks. Not that anybody uses them, but you get checks. And then and I'll have to reapply for SNAP and Medicaid, go through all that again because I'm changing my address. I'm going to have to provide all these forms again and all the proof again. That what I'm doing now and what I did 2 months ago, 3 months ago. And every time you do this, it's basically restarting for a lot of things. And then with my dad with the VA and everything else, I got to update everybody and all the doctors and all the, the credit card company got new IDs. And it's ridiculous. It's not simply just putting a change of address form in the mail to the postal service. And I got to do that. And then my car broke down, threw me for a loop, scared me. But it was in the shop a week, and I got it back. It cost me $1,100 today. And I'm lucky I got credit cards, and that they're not maxed out with all the prices and everything that's been going on. With all the rents and gone up, the electric's gone up, food's gone up, cable's gone up dramatically, because everybody's using it now. And we're just trying to stay afloat and trying to save a little bit of what we get from Social Security and our retirement and all that. We're trying to save up a little, and on top of paying for some medications and other things. But we can't. They're taking it as fast as we earn it. And they're not giving us any room to float. So I stay in my apartment, pay $200 more, and in 10 months I've got to move. Still got to move. But you charge me $200 more a month. So how do I save up for a mover? Because they just hit me with this, you got to move out within our last renewal period here, which was less than 3 months ago when I got my lease. So I'm going to have to move. But better now than do it in 10 months. Even thought I'd probably want to stay here. But my dad with dementia, he's going to have to change, get used to a new place, get used to a horrible view out to a parking lot. All we want to do as older people is survive. And they're not letting us do that. They're stealing every penny we got. They're stealing every benefit we got. Everything we paid into the system. When I was paying into the system all my life, they didn't force you to retire at 62. They for sure didn't make you work for your food stamps until you were 64. And all this other stuff they throw into it after the fact. And we have no rent stability. We have no protection. And they're nickel and diming us to death. And every benefit we get, you get food stamps. Yeah. If you get a cost of living increase of Social Security, what's the first thing that happens? The new income, food stamps drop. Almost the amount that you got the increase of. And if you're close to the edge and you got that bump up increase, suddenly you don't qualify for food stamps anymore. And if I retire early, I don't get to retire with full benefits anymore because they forced me to retire. And that was not the way it was when I was growing up. The whole time I was paying into the system and doing everything that we were supposed to do. And we did plan ahead. We invested in things. We put our money in businesses and in stocks and everything else. But since Reagan, they've robbed us blind. It's the same in the loan scandals and the housing crashes and more scandals and investment breaks than you can even think. And money you had in companies that went out the window because the economy crashed. And so small investor stocks crashed. And then everything started going through the roof. And then COVID hits. And right after COVID, right after we got the checks, the stimulus checks that gave us some thousands of dollars, what's the first thing that happened after the lockdowns and after we got those checks? Rent increases and higher rental increases every year. So an apartment that you started off at $1,000, you're now paying $1,500 for, because they're jumping up 10 to 15% every renewal. When back before COVID, and I've lived in the same apartment complex for almost 40 years, it was never more than 3.5% increase ever. And they say, well, that's the cost. That's the area's price. Well, the problem is the company that owns my apartment complex also owns every other complex around my area right here. I'd have to move out of the area, out of town, actually, to get away from them. They bought it. They set the prices. So now everybody has basically the same prices, but there's a minimum. And so they do that. And they cause the rent increases and a bunch of other stuff like taking away our privacy fences and everything else. They've really whittled us down to basically living in the box. We don't want you on the porch. Don't put anything on the porch. Don't sit out on the porch. Don't embarrass us. We want a serene look. Your kids don't want them playing around. Don't have them run too fast. No stuff. Not that I have kids, but I mean, my current apartment, I can see out the park area and see kids playing. In the new apartment we're getting shuffled into, we're looking out at the parking lot and probably my car, which is being held together with duct tape because I've not been able to buy a new car or a used car, a different car, because just when I was about to, everything went through the roof price-wise, including car prices and used car prices. They know they got us. And they stopped running buses, the transportation system. The whole time I've lived here, a bus has always annoyed me. There were so many of them on the street and going this way and that way, and it stops and stops and stops. They don't do that anymore. If you get on a bus to go 9 miles up the street, they route you downtown and back. And by the time you do that and the 3 transfers, that could take 6-7 hours to go the 9 miles. If you don't have a car. So when we need the buses, they don't have the buses. When we're at a flush economy, sure, let's put it up so everybody can ride the bus if they need to. And students and old people. We want to help the old people. Give me back the bus routes, so I don't need the car. Pay for the insurance that's gone through the roof because I'm older, and my car's older, and all that other stuff. So we old people, we're just trying to get through. We're trying to live. We're trying to do the best we can, and they just want us to die. They don't care if we end up homeless. They really don't. Oh, they weep, a good thing, but all you have to do is look at what they do to the veterans. You know how many people in Congress, in the House, are veterans? And yet you see them cutting veteran benefits and all that. They don't care if how long it takes to get any services renewed or upgraded. If they're doing that to our veterans who served our country, they don't care about us, where we've outlived our usefulness to them, except as voting stock. That's what we are, voting stock. Cattle. And that's what it's like right now in Kentucky. And you notice my renewal, I think because I had to have my renewal in by the 15th, all the stuff with the food stamps, and it suddenly got pushed back to the 31st. So that, because let's look at this. Yeah. If you're applying for SNAP or recertifying on or after October 25th, any applications or recertifications submitted after that will be subject to the new ABAWD age limit of 18 to 64, which will go into force on November 1st, which will be your first food stamp. So they're trying, they're not reviewing or getting through my paperwork in time, even though it was posted and sent to them on time before the 15th. So they can, now they're set the date to the 31st for them to review my stuff so that they could do that. But I'm already covered on the thing. They can't force that on me. I'm lucky that I have a proven disability and I have a proven dependent, being my old dad. We need to look out for each other and start making everything out there be known. When we run into these kind of things, get on YouTube, get on Twitter, get on whatever the heck other site, and let us know. Get on Reddit, post in the threads, whatever. But let us know your experiences and what you did about it, or if you have a question about it, find out answers, because they really don't want us here. Not anymore. Even though we built this country. We helped build this country. And people of my age, we didn't destroy this country. People we elected destroyed this country. Reagan destroyed this country. Bush and Bush 2 and Clinton. And now Trump. They're killing us. And we don't have the strength alone to fight this. But we need to get out there and put ourselves out there and let people know we're dying. Financially. In every way possible. In our golden years, what's that just mean? Someone's pissing on us. with a golden shower. Anyway, that's my rant. Talk to you again at another time.